Hello there everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy VII. So, I'm actually really happy with how many people are sort of excited to see how this game is going to go because of judging from the number of people watching the first part. So, that said, let's continue on with, again, what I believe is one of the best prologues in many games. As I said, when I first played this, though, it was overwhelming, you know, going from all the stuff that I did to this, and also I'm just standing there because as this is my repeat playthrough, at this point, you know, I just want to kind of get through it, so I'm just mashing through the cutscenes and stuff, but I do want to try and show it off. But there's so much in this beginning area, and it's missable. That's the thing. A lot of it is entirely missable. You know, there'll be small stuff that you'll see here that you won't be able to see for a long time or ever again, which is why I highly recommend, if you're interested in this game, please play it yourself. It's like a different experience for everyone. Like, for instance, I never knew if you talk to Wedge here again, he gives you a second entire thing of dialogue that you can do. That's really cool. Although I wasn't trying to talk to him at all. I was trying to talk to Jessie, who's a million times cuter and is super awesome. So yeah, I guess I should say now that the second part is coming up, I've updated the first part to have a proper thumbnail. Thanks to the user BigDeadAlive on Twitter and Tumblr for allowing, I commissioned them a art piece for Tifa, because Tifa is adorable, and we'll get to see her later this part. And I mean, everyone's seen Tifa, and you know, I get it. I'm using a sexy girl again, but it's okay because she's at least plot relevant. And yes, she's wearing my hat, which I love. But I actually really love, like, the world building, you know, if you will, of showing, like, yeah, like, this is them going on the train and stuff. And, like, this is, like, the whole thing. Well, there's ID sensors on the train, and you know what, honestly, this whole Midgar section just gives me massive youth fiction vibes. Like, you know what I'm talking about, like, all the Hunger Games and all those, you know. So, for example, right here, there's a ID security check, which I'm sure is fine. You know, it's like, I don't get this line. You never know what kind of creeps will come off when the lights go off. Like, are they referring to, like, gropers and stuff, like, on the train? Like, that's a line. There's a couple lines that I've heard a couple times that I just don't know what is being said, really. I think, though, actually, if I can pull up the comments from the first part, there were some people who were explaining, you know, some stuff. But yeah. So we're in, like, they say it's like a floating city, but it's like the city floating above them on, like, a pizza. And actually, I think one of the song tracks for the name of it is, like, The Disgusting Pizza Above or something similar, which is a crazy, crazy name. You know, it's great. I really like it, actually. But I can see why a few people would probably be like, that's a strange name, you know. It's very Japanese. I find it interesting that this is, like, the first Final Fantasy game with a real pro-environmental message, though. I mean, it just really seemed like this was a push around the time for a lot of pro-environmental stuff, which, hey, you know, that's always good to have, I feel. I feel like it's at this point a little tropey, but that's okay. So let's see what some of the people's comments were on the first part while we have just a bit of world building and stuff going on. I have lost my video. There we go. I love the you have to think, at this time, having pre-rendered cutscenes to just seamlessly transition in and out, for a console especially, was just totally crazy, you know? Thanks to Darkness Star, who told me that you have to actually save Jessie there, or else, you can't go, because she has to open the door, so you have to then go back and get her. So, like, yeah, I'm really happy that there are people who are able to do the things that I've never done, and explain stuff, because that's one of the things with this game, is there's just so many small things, so many small variables that make it really replayable, because you're never going to find everything, which is really cool. But here we are. We have to get back to Sector 7, because that's where, like, our base of operations is. So how are we going to do that? Obviously just by splitting up, because that's a good idea. I'm sure if anyone's pursuing us, we won't run into any issues at all. Or no, I'm thinking of another part. It's just right here. Never mind. This is 7th Heaven. Also, I like the big Texas sign, despite the fact that Texas is not a place in Final Fantasy VII, which is a bit confusing. So I do show something off here that Game Explain only recently told us about. If you run up as fast as you can and go talk to Barrett, you'll be able to say like, oh, come on, you know, it's you ready to see your little baby again? And it's obvious who he's referring to, it's Tifa. And you wouldn't normally see that dialogue because you're probably going to want to go talk to people around. So that's actually a very rare dialogue, which is really cool. You know, I love little stuff like that, you know, like it's a small thing, and I think it does actually affect, the relationship values, which we'll get into more later. But here she is herself. Everyone knows who this is. This is Tifa. Tifa. And she's like, oh, you're grown up. And now we're like, no, you're grown up. Tifa is synonymous with the internet, you know, you've seen her around. Ha! I made a joke. See, that was funny. And I almost named her Tifia from the joke, which would have been bad. But no, Tifa is a cultural icon at this point. It's actually insane. Like, I mean, everyone's seen Tifa for sure. Just from being around. You know, if you're a kid from the 90s, you've seen Tifa. And I still find this really interesting. Like, when Final Fantasy VI, you know, came out, they really had to censor any allusions to alcohol and any allusions to anything sexual or swearing because of Nintendo's practices at the time. But now it's like, nah, man, just throw them into a bar. And as we'll see later, it gets really egregious later, where they're just like, nah, we're not on Nintendo anymore. Let's just have our fun. Let's see. And there's Marlene there. And Marlene is really interesting because it's a whole situation of, it's like Barrett's adopted daughter. And I've actually seen a couple people be like, oh, of course the only black character is a single dad. And I'm like, oh my god. People really seem to search for stuff. Like, it's really obvious that they just search for stuff. And I mean, when it's as old as this, I can sort of see why they would, because it's an easy target. Also, I love how everyone just jumps down, just not a care in the world. But us, nah, man. We want to drink first. Because Cloud is surprisingly old enough to drink. And yeah, give me something hard. Hit me with it. I love how it's like, yeah, you just have a drink, and it doesn't affect anything, again, except maybe relationship values, because I'm not exactly sure how all that works. But, no, we have a drink here, and of course, Tifa being the trope of the childhood friend. You can sort of tell where this is going, but I guess it's interesting that for a lot of people, Tifa was the first childhood friend character they might know. You know, at this time, anime games were not mainstream at all. I mean, it's not at all. But instead, you know, so this might be someone's first introduction to the childhood friend trope, which we'll get into more later in this part, of course. But for now, it's just sort of being alluded to. Also, the guy on the TV is terrifying. Look at that guy's face. Also, the headline is just Sin, which is a wonderful allusion to Final Fantasy X, which I'm sure, as you all know, is actually takes place a million years before Final Fantasy VII in the same universe. It's wonderful. Also, I like how Jessie just says, oh, you like my bomb? Nah, it's cool. I just looked it up on the internet, and that's how I learned it. No, it's good. Teach the kids that you don't have to worry. Anyone can make a bomb once they know about the internet. That's, whew. But again, this came out back before that was a lot of a problem, you know. I think, like, this was way before, you know, 9/11 and all that. This is quite, wasn't it 1999, I'm pretty sure? When did Final Fantasy VII come out? I need to Google this, because it's important for the current conversation. But I really like the dynamic between Cloud and Barrett being, like, newly acquainted, but, you know, just, oh, it's 1997, okay. Which, yeah, that makes about sense. So, like, Cloud and Barrett, despite only having met in the last mission, are already good buds, you know? And I really hope that for the remake, we get to see more of this sort of, I guess, you know, broship being formed, and especially because of the fact that we do know that, they are expanding Final Fantasy VII's, you know, story to be full size. They're splitting up, so, like, Midgar is gonna be a lot bigger. I really hope that we just get more in Midgar shenanigans with Cloud and Barrett, you know. And again, I'm totally terribly dating this Let's Play, but that's okay. But Cloud here's kind of a jerk. He's like, I don't care about the planet, I just want my money. And that just sets Barrett off, because Yeah, it's like, Cloud, you say you don't care, but you came to talk to me. You just want friends, don't you? And saying blow off is truly the cruelest option. I could never ever choose that. And then I said, wait a sec, did I choose the wrong one? And then if you choose blow off, he actually gives you a better option. It's a little confusing. So as you can sort of see though, I have a bit of a problem with the level geometry here. Like, it's a 2D map, right? But I have a bit of trouble actually seeing how I can get around to talk to people. It's a little annoying. And of course, somehow I'm talking to Wedge all the way from over here. I have no idea how. Interestingly, oh, and this is a function that's in the PS4 version. You can speed up the game 3 times, which causes Barrett to become a JoJo character, which is lovely. The pinball machine there is actually a 3D model, which is interesting because they needed it to make it move. You can sort of tell what is 3D and what is pre-rendered here, but remember, back in the day you couldn't because of just how the everything looked, and I'm forgetting that I just have to go upstairs at this point. I want to try and go talk to Biggs over there, but it's just not going to let me. But that's okay. And I'm just trying to get out of here as fast as I can. And there we go. So we just have to leave. It's a bit too noisy down there. Let's go up. Because at this point, all Cloud wants is his money. And I mean, that's fair, I feel, you know? It's like, and we try to leave, but Tifa won't let us leave because Tifa wants us to do her a solid. Okay, so straight up, I don't want to take views away from my own Let's Play, but I highly recommend Final Fantasy VII Machine Abridged. Team 4-Star, the guys behind Dragon Ball Z Abridged, made their like abridged version of Final Fantasy VII. It's amazing. And so Cloud at this point can either pull the "K, yo, you're not pulling the childhood friend card on me," or you can pull up the suck up card, which again, if you're trying to go for relationship values with Tifa, that's probably what you want to do. It's important to note that from day one, you like from as soon as you start the game, the relationship values are important, you know? So this is a bit confusing to me. I'm not sure when this is. So it's like back then, is this a flashback within a flashback? Or is this them just, is that just an image? So now this is the real flashback. But like, what was that before? Was that just meant to represent the I don't know, middle time? Was that artistic? It's just a little confusing at times, you know. I mean, it wouldn't be surprised for them to flash back to a flashback, but we get to see a young Tifa and a young Cloud, really young. It's interesting that, you know, like, yeah, they are just totally childhood friends, and Cloud is like, I'm leaving to become a soldier, which is, you know, that's something I feel like kids in the 97s were, you know, thinking about. That was sort of a big thing, the idea of moving out from the country to the city to become a whatever. That was a big theme back in the day. Nowadays it's not so much with how just the world is, but I remember that was always a big plot for a lot of anime games especially. And even Cloud has the ponytail there that reminds me of, you know, every single Ryu from Breath of Fire. It's great, you know, it's this game is tropey, but that's not bad. You know, I feel like a lot of people think tropey games are bad, but nah, it's cool. The music is wonderful, I gotta say. As I said before, this is based on the PC version, which originally had terrible MIDI versions of the music, but then they patched it in because they're like, no, this ain't cool, man. So that's cool. I like that. So, let's see, is there any interesting stuff I can bring up? Let's bring up some stuff on Tifa, because we're kind of getting her thing. Tifa is actually the first fully, permanently playable monk in the series. Female monk. So like, you know, the monk class in games, and it's for Final Fantasy specifically. Puncher type, you know? Up to this point, you've had female monks before, but they've only been like, whenever you can change your jobs. I think it's kind of nice to have like, just a female punchy one, you know, just as that's her whole shtick. And I think she's actually really cool. I think that it's a good, again, I would say character trope, but at this time, I don't even know if it was that big of a trope at all. And of course, there's a shooting star, because if it's an anime game, there's gotta be shooting stars. So, I guess one thing we might talk about is that how to pronounce Tifa's name. A lot of people thought it was Tifa back in the day, but it's actually Tifa, because it's a shortened version, apparently, of Tiffany, which I don't like. I like Tifa a lot better than Tiffany. Also, in Greek, it could mean 3 or the Trinity, and the Tiferet is the 6th Sephira in the Tree of Life, symbolizing love, beauty, and self-sacrifice, because it actually, Final Fantasy VII has a lot to do with Jewish mysticism. And yes, I am reading a Wikipedia page, but I also, knew some of this. I didn't know about that with Tifa, but I do know about the overwhelming amount of Jewish mysticism involved with Final Fantasy VII. I feel anyone who's taken any sort of religion class will have heard about the name Sephiroth, so. And that's really sad. We I feel like the fact that was money for Marlene's schooling, at that point, if I was, if we were playing as ourselves instead of Cloud, I would have given the option, to put it back. But of course, Cloud is a separate character. You don't just mix the characters, it's like, that's one thing. I feel like Cloud, beyond every other, at least previous Final Fantasy character, is not an extension of yourself, but his own separate character. You're playing with Cloud, not as Cloud, if you will, kind of. And of course, so there we go. We sort of flirted with Tifa, and she just straight didn't get it. That is another relationship value thing. And hey, can we just point out that Marlene is in the bar shaking up drinks? She's 9. That's crazy. And I'm skipping the materia tutorial. Because it's fine. It's super easy. It's basically you just put on materia, and when you equip materia to either your weapon or your armor, you can either use it or it affects its properties. It's super simple. The only thing that confused me was the all materia, But yeah, Marlene there, she's taking care of the bar, which is crazy. The bar, even though it's called 7th Heaven, has a giant sign that says Tyler. Why? I am not sure. But interestingly, Tyler is a city in Texas, which, of course, Tifa has a big sort of Texas theme about, so it's very interesting. But we got another bombing mission. This time we're going to take down Sector 5, I'm pretty sure is the one? I could be wrong. Yes, Sector 5 Reactor is our next target. So yeah, we gotta go take down these reactors, and I thought that we would have to take them all down one by one, but that's not the case. Also, this guy, we straight up got put on the same thing as him, the same car again, so we're just gonna leave him here. He looks like a Red Phoenix, right? And here's another one of these. I feel like they didn't know they were translating things. He said, you saying something, but he's looking at the camera, I don't know. That's another one of those awkward lines. It's occasionally just there and awkward, It's not. I feel like this game still has a great translation compared to, other PS1 RPGs of the time. Whoo! Don't even get me started. But no, I think this one's good. And we just so happen to have a Shinra manager. And Barrett, with his gun arm, can threaten everyone. I wonder if they're going to do something about that. Maybe give him a glove or something to sort of hide his gun arm. Because if someone was just walking around with gun arm, I feel like a lot of people would be, just naturally freaked out on their own, but oh well, it's hey man, you have a gun arm, that's just what you have. So, what else is there to talk about? I guess one thing is, again, I'm doing these partially for myself, because, again, I love Final Fantasy, I want to talk about me playing Final Fantasy VII for the first time, but also from my boy DigiValentine, who said that this is actually his favorite game of all time, which is incredible. Am I reading that right? One of his favorite games of all time. So if you haven't seen Who Dat, go watch that right now, because, oh my god, stop my video, go watch something actually quality. And we get, the interesting thing about this is there's parallels to what's happening with last time. This time, yeah, you've seen this already. So we're getting through this again, where we're going to be, have it all explained to us again. There's some weird stuff, I totally skipped it out, but when you're in that beginning part and you're able to run around freely outside the bar, you can actually go and explore in some of the houses And in one of the houses, I didn't show this off because I just don't need to, but there is a tutorial house. And this tutorial house is very strange because everyone's posing in it and everyone's talking like the game is real life. It's the strangest thing, and by that point, you already know how to play the game, so I don't even know why it's there. But our IDs didn't work this time because they changed the system, and these have mini countdowns for each car, which are very stressful, and I have no idea what would happen if you're in there. You know, will it be a game over? Will it be an enemy? I have no idea. That's another thing. If you've done that, I would love to know. But this isn't it. They're starting the check. We gotta move from car to car, and this is one of the cutscenes where you can move around in. So I'm just freaking out, like, come on, guys, we gotta move. And interestingly, like the ruffians, if you will actually try and get in your way. So like, you gotta try and move. And I think one of the dudes stole my stuff. I'm pretty sure he did, but I didn't run back and grab it, so it's fine. So you just gotta try and get through as fast as you can. And this one totally flew past me when I first played this game, like way long ago, I mean on the emulator, right? See these dudes at the front here who are all looking shadily left and right? I did not get that that's meant to be Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse. Where are they? I think that's Wedge. Yeah, that's Jesse. How do I look, Cloud? Do I look good in shitty uniform? Yeah, you look great, just like a man. And Jesse's like, yay, I'm so happy, I think. Which I love about her. She has such a good, personality. It's like any other girl, but I'm so offended. But no, it's like, no, Jessie takes that. She's like, yeah, thanks, I think. It's great. She's like that other girl personality, It's like, this game kind of has the three major girl archetypes. And it's like, no, in this one, it's, Tifa's a childhood friend. So-and-so is the other one. And then there's like, well, I guess another one too. Well, it's fine. But then Jesse's like the weird, sort of like normally girl, which I would have really liked to be a romance option, but sadly is not the case at all. In fact, she doesn't join the party. I really like Jesse. Can you tell? There's Wedge, looking all like a child, and I didn't understand that those were them for the first time. It just that flew past me, Okay, so this is an interesting area, because you can go up to where you have to go, but if you go down, you get the same screen again. I don't know if I show it off here. Let's see here, do I? I don't, but in my first playthrough, I went all the way down. And when I mean all the way down, I went all the way down. And if you go all the way down, there's a door which I think spawns endless enemies. And I straight up had no idea what to do there if you do anything. So if one of you guys could answer that, it'd be super cool. But now we got finally our full team. So it's interesting that this game went for a team of 3. No Final Fantasy before this had any less than 4 characters at once. But they decided to bring it back, and I feel like the limit system kind of balances it, because like, yeah, well, you get hurt, and stuff more. It also then charges your attacks to be stronger, so it's okay, I don't know. But I love just the combat system in this game. I feel like it's super well done. It's the same as what it was before, but with slight upgrades. But just how everything looks and stuff is great, and it should be mentioned, if you do go south from there, you have to walk back the same number the other way. So I think it's like 25 or whatever. It's like you have to go 25 the other way. And it's not bad on PS4, because PS4 actually has boosters that let you turn off all encounters and boost your speed times 3. And let me tell you, in a RPG, these are the greatest features ever. So, you can do that and it's fine. And in fact, in some areas, it actually makes it a little broken. And then, of course, the third one is to give yourself max HP, max MP, and max money until you let go of it, and it gives you back your previous amounts of money and stuff. Which, again, you might find useful, but I'm going to try to avoid. I think I accidentally click it once, but if you just click it in the field, nothing happens, so that's good. And it only lasts for as long as you, have it, and it doesn't do as much as, you don't have to worry. It just lets you have the next battle easy. And this whole area has multiple paths, and I'm not even exactly sure how they all work, It's like, they're kind of go everywhere. I just kind of take the same path every time. But here we have some cool enemies. We have some turrets, which are always fun. and these little flying things, I don't know what they're called, but they have an attack called Hell Bubbles. And it's again, they're just coming out the door right away with the Hell Bubbles. Just right away with, oh yeah, we're just gonna have a name of hell in there because we can do that on Nintendo. What are they called? I forget what they're called. I need to find what they're called. They're not called Smoggers, are they? Is that what they are? Are these the guys, the Smoggers? No, Smoggers are different. I can't find what they're called. I'd like to, but that's fine. I don't think we'll be able to. Are they Blood Taste? Who are these guys? No, I'm in the total wrong section. It's okay. But no, it's like the enemies in this game are weird, and I really hope that they bring them all back for Final Fantasy VII Remake, because there's some that are just so unique to this game. Like, they're all very low poly and stuff. Like, some of them have literally like each section of their body is one color. You know, like, there's no real textures on them aside from maybe their eyes, you know? So it's like, they're weird, and I love them. I love the weirdness of them. And you'll see later it gets even weirder. But it's okay, Jessie's here and we apologize to her. I kind of want to say, yeah, next time I'll give you something better. I'll go back to the hideout, my research will be better. So that's good, that's nice. But if we go to, I think this is the wrong way I'm actually going right now. Because this is actually another way to get up there, and there's a wedge there. And of course, there's probably stuff you get from talking to all of them, and I am not getting everything in this game. There is no way. I'm trying to get as many as I can, but it ain't happening. I'm not getting everything, you know. I don't like the save points in this game, straight up. I mean, they're recognizable, but they're hardly, you know, decent looking. And so we equip the restore material onto Barrett, because it's always good to have at least someone. You know, if you have restore material, just use it, man. Why not? It's good to have anyone be a healer. And the interesting thing is there is some like min-maxing, if you will, with whatever you put the materia on. Also, yay, a slide. Those are always fun. It affects their stats as well. So you want to try and put them on, you know, if you want someone to be a certain, you know, if they want them to be a magic caster, then try to use a lot of magic on them. Or if you want them to be more physical, use ones that increase their physical stats. So like for that stuff, there's all sorts of stuff you can do. But honestly, I don't feel like it affects the game, I mean, at least at my point, enough where it becomes an issue. I think you're totally fine just playing this game, making your parties how you want. Of course, maybe for endgame stuff it might be different, you know, but oh well. Yeah, these dudes are just weird. They're like little soldier dudes. Are these, I wish, yeah, so these are the special combatants. I do wish that, you know, I'm able to have their names up all the time, but sadly, I only learned about that later to put their names up, because if you press, I think, the pad, it will tell you, who they are, and it will actually give you, like, their names and stuff, and some other brief information, but these dudes are just special combatants. That's about it. They descend some screens to find guarded door to do wait, what? The player can descend some screens to find a guarded door to do battle against special combatants that endlessly spawn. I think that's the door I was talking about when I go down, and that's about it. So this, okay, so straight up, this song right here, the like Mako Reactor song is very iconic, but hilariously, I associate it almost entirely with another game. It was used in the dungeon for Chocobo Tales on the DS, and that's where I heard this song. They used it there, remixed, and I remember hearing it there thinking this is a really grim sort of song, and when I heard this later, I'm like, okay, this sounds ripped off of something. But we have one more battle that I think our part's about done, and we got, so look at, like, what are these dudes? Look at these washing machine things. What is it? Like, I feel like if it was gray, it would be like, yeah, whatever, it's a machine, whatever. But in this one, it's like green and yellow. And like, what are you? And of course, it uses smog, which I think lowers accuracy. Could cause poison? Yeah, so like Barrett's poisoned. And from what I can tell, poison in this game is not like the old school style of you will get so hurt every single turn. I think it just uses time instead of using turns. I'm pretty sure. I haven't seen him get hurt once yet, so... Oh, there it is. So yeah, it uses time, not turns, so don't worry too much, I feel. If you're just fast, you can do it. And then there's these dog things, and they're really cool, except for the fact that it's hard to tell if they're organic or a machine, thanks to the limited graphics of the PS1. But guys, next time, let's actually bomb the second one, and I'm sure nothing will go wrong. Also, I love how you can open the menu immediately after battle and never see the field. Like, that's great. So, thank you all for watching, guys. See you next time. Ciao.